first thing which we start with would be that a little bit about ourselves. My name is then Eero, and I've been dealing for 10 years with software development, and also I like good ideas. So what we have been doing as kind of non-profit project is to put up a portal for good ideas, but then not for the ideas which are directed to the government, but for the ideas generally about new services and products. And Peter?
Yes, and here's actually my tag cloud showing my main interests. Seems the main thing is security, but also Web 2.0, internet, copyright, video privacy, and other issues are pretty prominently present. Now, we are running a no hands-out policy. There is actually a very clear reason for that, and that's called internet. And if you want, you can type into the Google TID Plus, and you'll indeed find everything you need to cover the slides later on the text. There is tidplus.net, which is bringing together all of the documentation, analysis. Also there is up there a download possibility, which isn't usable currently, but it will be. And there will be soon also a link to a demo version of the system, which is actually live at the address there. I didn't want to put it up before to make sure it doesn't crash during the presentation, or nobody manages to put up some weird ideas. And there is also a wiki where we can find all of the analysis documents and the rest of the development stuff. So there is plenty of things to find if you're typing into Google just TID Plus. So perhaps we can go on to the part of the study. As Steven mentioned, there has been a lot of studying of the TOM from the TOM-centric viewpoint of how many ideas have been in the system. The number of ideas, as you see, has been dropping and a bit rising, probably due to the just larger number of people using internet during the years. We decided to take a bit different approach and see what was actually the reasoning behind the popularity, or decline of the popularity, or rise of the popularity. Is it somehow related to the number of users registered in the system, or number of the ideas? Could there be some trends related to success of the ideas, or some other reasons? So, this is something, I think whoever is doing something to call people to participate, or saying they have an internet-related project that is greatly successful, they must start with metrics. It's one of the easiest and completely free things, which is called Google Analytics, and we can actually see how many users there have been through time. Let's enlarge it a bit. This is a typically used number of unique visitors per week. And we are seeing it's practically like 1,000 unique visitors per week. Now, the question is that good or bad? Can we compare that to something? Last summer, as an additional non-profit project, I did set up something which is called Google Metrics, which is aggregating data from various Estonian websites that are using the Google Analytics. And here we see, today I decide, täna otsustan mina, is with about 1,000 users. I actually picked the best week from last year, so it's very good. It went some positions lower also sometimes, but okay. It's there. So, if you look down, there is one of the sites from our energy company, Eesti Energia. If you go up, you're going to see dating sites. Up a bit is briefing room of the government, where there are press releases from government sessions. The Tehnokratt is my weblog, so I'm at the moment a bit higher. And you can see other blogs coming after the TOM. So this is the typical size of this site in the Estonian internet. If we compare it to the rest of the government sites, it's sitting there on the place number 10. But the rest of the government websites popularity isn't very much higher than that of the TOM. So I think it's practically in the league of government. I think the government might do much better, because the best spin-off project from actually Vaatamaana project is called e-kool, which has about 100,000 weekly unique visitors. So it's 100 times bigger than TOM. Also, of course, people have a good reason to visit that also. So, and you can go and see yourself. This is also a public resource, and I think it's very important to always take tally of how many users do you have. So, our first point is, whatever you're doing, compare your position with competition, with the market, with other options, and find ways to get access to that data, because without that, you're not actually speaking about the success of your project. There is another part of the statistics. It's comparing with yourself. This is a smaller part of Estonian TOM's usage, and we are seeing that some weeks are about twice as high as the lowest weeks. So we should actually look what are the trends that are making our system more popular and are bringing in people. When we look at the source of the users, we are finding that there is Auto24, which is the car forum site. It's also I think sales site, but probably from forum site. EPL, which is our second largest daily, and a couple of blogs.
I would also add here that it's interesting to see that when we think of the ideas which have been on TOM, a substantially large part of them are about traffic. So maybe there's also a relationship between the types of ideas there have been and the fact that they have been heavily discussed on the Auto24 forums.
Yes, there have, I think, all-time highest participation was on a copyright-related idea, asking for allowing to share homemade subtitles to movies. Here, if you look at the idea, there is a particular idea highlighted which has been bringing in a lot of page views in this particular moment. And if you look at the idea, it's actually related to wrong parking. There happens to be that in Estonia you can't be easily fined for lock parking people like shown here on the picture. So it has been going through the system a couple of times, always considered unconstitutional by the Ministry of People. I have actually managed to push the idea into the law amendment process outside TOM, but pointing to the fact that people have been wishing that on the TOM. So, you need to increase your electronic footprint so that people can actually find your content. And there must be ways to interact with the outside world. Very often when we are doing any projects, we are thinking about our own project, that people are coming here and doing something. No, they are not. They are typically acting somewhere else. And actually, where does the majority of people come? It appears that of the 82,500 visits, during I think now a bit longer time period, about half of them came from the Google search engine and Net.ee Estonian search engine. So half of the traffic comes there. What is the problem is that if you look at the bounce rate, this is the number of percentage of users who are leaving after seeing one page. Seems that 70% are not finding what they were actually looking for. And also, so when we are doing something, we need to find methods, if we get people to our site, how to keep them there. So especially it is visible that the bounce rate is worse for people coming from search engines. Appears they are not finding what they were coming for. So the question is to provide context. If you are getting people into a site, like the participation site, you need to find ways to provide context. This is now the shot from Estonian version of the new Tom, where you can see that if people are looking on a particular idea, they're going to see other top ideas. There are keywords and other data. On our version, there will be a bit more alternative information next to an idea to help people to find. If they came in, the particular idea isn't what they were looking for, then where to go next. This is a typical e-marketing strategy.
Also, it gives a little bit more dynamism to the site in those terms that it is that there is a possibility to see what has recently become popular and what have been the recent issues highlighted by the users of Osale.ee.
Some of the statistics from actually looking into the actions of users and ideas. The data I'm currently using is from the time when we completed the analysis part, or past spring. So there is a bit more of ideas, I think 1,137 or so at the moment, and a bit more of users. What we found was a very nice rule. So people are voting in 2/3 of the ideas. Wow, that's easiest thing to remember. 90% of ideas had at least one comment on them. So people were interacting on the idea. Unfortunately, when we are looking at the user activity, we are finding that only 40% of ideas authors are commenting or participating in commenting their own ideas, and only 34% of the authors are voting, and 56% is of all of the action together. So somehow seems that the users are abandoning their own ideas and not coming back. So I think one of the important things with tools like this is make sure that the people are actually participating. Not in the mean of the general e-democratic participation, but they are interacting with the system. People are brought back to the system and coached through the process, so they find what could be done to promote their idea and so on. This is something, one part of the new system.
Indeed, it is so that in order to increase participation, it's important to remind the people about their idea, so that it would not be just a one-off thing to submit the idea, but also that they would be informed about new comments. So, for example, people are in particular notified when the idea has been accepted by the administrator, which means that it is viewable by the wider public. Then also, in case the voting period ends, then the person can have a view. And also when the voting period has ended, and some other functions like this.
I think the 5 days message is something we were actually debating during the development. That's actually something that ought to send out, that your idea has gotten so many votes, and would you mind to promote it more, and here are some interesting ways how you could actually get more people to be interested in your idea, how you can invite friends and
being also informed about the comments means that people are better reminded about the fact that in case there are some interesting comments, then they could come and make maybe some notes or additions to their idea via accepting those comments, which might have been done by other informed participants of the e-democratic processes.
Yes, and actually the last one is related to watch list. So it's possible to add whatever idea, not only your own, to a watch list, which will, every idea has on top a possibility to add to a watch list, meaning that you can easily get notices about the ideas that you are interested in. So when they are moving to the next phase, and you can know, okay, I was voting there, I'd like to know what happened to the idea. Well, when the answer comes, though, I can get pinged by that. Another one is
start a new idea, which means that a new idea could be started on the basis of an old idea. The problem with the current TOM, or one of the, let's say, challenges with the current TOM, is that there are some ideas which are fairly repetitive. Some of these issues which have been discussed already years ago pop up all the time. Of course, that's nice, and that shows that some issues are important in society, but in case we could interlink those ideas, then TOM would be a much more effective tool for the democracy.
Mm-hmm. Actually, the internal name for the function is recycle an idea. We are thinking that we are currently debating how it should be possible to invite other users, because if there was, for example, the same wrong parking idea, it went through the system twice. And now, when I actually found a problem in the minister's thinking, I'd like to restart the idea with some added points or solutions how it could be actually solved. So I'd like to re-invite back the people who were participating in the previous cycles.
So this means that TID Plus puts more effort on dialogue instead of monologue in terms of bringing a better possibility to interact in a lengthier process with the government.
Mm-hmm. So yes, possibilities to recycling. We are currently, why I'm saying we are a bit debating that is it kind of would possibly create some amounts of spam. So we are not very sure how it will be in the final version.
Because the possibility, what we have been discussing, which is currently possible to turn on or off by the administrator, is that in case you put up a new idea, then you can contact the voters or the commentators of a previous idea. And on the basis of the usage, later on, then it's possible to see if this would be a too spam-prone solution, or if this would be something which actually kind of enhances democracy.
Yes, and if it happens to be spammy, then there is alternative way of actually letting the administrator notify people who are interested on a particular field so they can receive email newsletters and be invited back to a discussion. As everybody who has been doing anything related to e-marketing is that if you can get people to accept the possibility of receiving future emails from you, you can greatly increase the return rate of your users. But so this is kind of tools of these. But as you see, everything is needs to be opted in by users. So we actually need ways and tools in the system to activate the users to do something with the system. We are having almost 7,000 users. I think it was a bit more than 7,000 this spring. And half of them have made some kind of action. It's kind of weird because there was no logging in needed or registering, just to read the system. So we are still puzzled if it's possibly some kind of sign of the system not working correctly, that people have been signing up but not doing any actions. And there is voting, which seems to be the most popular action, probably because some people have been running effective campaigns to get people to vote for their ideas, and there has been less of commenting. The next numbers are of the active users. So if there was about 7,000 total, the active is something like 3,000. So the next percentages are of these to show the active users. With a single idea, almost 20% of the active users have also taken to present an idea. I think that's a pretty high rate. At the same time, if you look at the users with more than 1 or 2 ideas, this is minority. But how does it come that if most of the people have presented just 1 idea, that the average is almost 2 ideas per user? It must be probably related to some of the very active users of the system. If we look at the distribution by percentiles, then we can see that the first percentile is running at 3 ideas, and the activity drops very fast on all of the actions. So we have a very small active community, and the rest are such passers-by to the system. And half of the ideas are from 16% of the users in the system. Here's the power law distribution of the users' activity. The users are ranked from the most active user on the left to the less active users on the right, and the vertical shows the number of ideas per users. So there is a very active group of users, say first actually 10 users, and then it drops off very fast. This is perhaps also one reason which brings the possibility to take the system like that seriously to a question, because it was mentioned that the system tends to be monopolized by some people. It is probably aggregate of several reasons. One of them is the not so much not very many of the integration to the outside sources of users. Another one is missing of some kind of limiting factors to limit the overactive users. And half of the votes are from 4% of the users. So this is the kind of a democracy we might actually start looking how to avoid. So there are people with ideas, 20% is putting ideas, and most of the votes are from the core users, who are then voting the ideas of people who came to present their ideas and then went away and never came back. So this is a kind of system, and I think one of the problems was that the present Tom didn't have easily visible metrics of these kinds of actions of user activity and other things. We're trying to see that it will be more available in the TID plus version. So I'm just repeating the previous point: to activate users, otherwise you are getting something that might not actually be e-democracy. And next part, there is also a mind map. I'll see if the server can get me there, or we'll do it from the PowerPoint. There seems to be that. Okay, I can also see here. So we actually went through very quickly through the first part, which is the usage statistics, and now I try to give more floor to Eero to go through the usage statistics. Then we did interviews with users. We actually selected users, 80 users. For survey, we selected 80 of the users whose ideas had created most of the response, most activity, most votes, most comments, and so on. And I think from 80 we received 26 responses to the survey, and also made 2 group interviews with various target groups. But Eero.
Yes. I think that using the mind map, of course, on one hand is a great concept, but on the other hand we also have some screenshots in the other one. So
okay,
yeah, right. So Indeed, we have been looking at the study, and we also made an interview with some of the respondents of the government offices who then have been responding or answering the ideas in the talk. And what we have encountered, or what we have found out during these interviews, is that that of course also officials maybe see this also as a problem, that TOM as such does not facilitate discussion. Partly this is an issue which has to do with administrative structure, because an answer to a TOM idea goes also within the government structures, goes through a usual approval process. So even later on, when there might be some discussions up, then the response might take quite a lot of time, because there's a number of layers of people who have to actually be informed and have to be agreeing to this answer.
Also, actually, I think the recycling of the idea is a way to give a possibility to revise the original answer by saving the face. So people have actually come up with a revised idea, so they can come up with a revised answer. Just commenting on the people's reaction to original answer wasn't considered possible on the civil service side.
Yes. Right. There's also an issue which was highlighted in the presentation before, which means that there's a small number of active users. Yeah? How we would like to rectify or change this issue in the context of TID Plus, and also in the context of the new TOM, is that there is a possibility to invite friends and maybe not so much friends to comment an idea, to view an idea, which would hopefully provide a little bit more possibilities also for promoting an idea. So this is done with the send an invitation link. Yeah? And also we have possibilities now in the TID Plus to for the users to decide how long would the commenting phase last, because there are ideas which are different in nature. Some of them are pretty urgent, and some of them maybe require a lot more discussion. Similarly, it's also an issue about the voting, which the user can decide what would be the period. However, the defaults are then determined by the administrator of the system. So these can be different for different municipalities, different countries, or the different regions where it is used.
And there is also on the administrative side possibility to set the number of minimal votes to pass the idea, which was one of the, again, comments from the government side telling why the original TOM doesn't seem reasonable, is that the ideas can go through with one vote. So it isn't currently in the user side interface, but it's on the admin side.
It is an interesting question in those terms that it can be applied in different countries in different ways, because in Estonia, of course, we have a law which says that every kind of citizen interaction which is identifiable must be responded to. So in the context of the Riigikantselei osale.ee, it is so that all ideas from now onwards will get pushed further, even the ones which get voted no. But this has changed.
But you still have to get positive vote or comment.
Okay. You see, the specifications change very fast. So, then. In the context of TID Plus, it is possible to set the minimum number of votes, and also if the idea has to be positive to be sent further or not, voted in. It's also possible to determine a category, which was discussed about before, and also keywords which provide a possibility for finding ideas in a specific way. Now, one of the issues which also came out in the context of interviewing the government people involved is that, or at least it's more subtle in those terms that maybe people did not say it directly, but with a lot of ideas which come up in TOM, the ideas are not related to working plan. Often actually it is so that ideas actually surface when a law about something has been passed, and it's actually pretty difficult to start opening a law again right after it has already been passed by the parliament. For this, we find that it is good in case also the government servants have a good possibility of finding these ideas when they have this issue on their table, actually. And
so the Estonian version has the government's side where they can start consultations in due time according to the working plan, so everything is happening at the right moment in the process. And also the system has, as we mentioned, the categories and keywords which make it easy for people to find ideas, but also for civil service to find the ideas at the moment suitable for them when they are looking for something that which might be actually popular related to something we are going to do.
Mm-hmm. Also, what we were in the development process, we're toying around with an idea was that also government servants can rank the ideas in a way which would be secret to them, so that they say that actually this idea is good, but the author of the idea would not see it, but this would put the possibility to get it to find the good ideas later on better. But we have decided that we will not include this functionality. Now also we have two issues which are related to acceptance might be higher if ideas are findable when topic is actual, but which we discussed already, and the possibility to establish interest groups to demonstrate support. In the consultations part of the osale.ee, there is also a possibility to form an interest group and to identify yourself with the permission of the owner of the interest group as a member of an interest group.
Yes, I somehow think that in the electronic age, the interest groups interest group might be a property of a person. So I'm declaring I'm interested in that, and in this way I am forming interest groups. So, but yes.
Mm-hmm. Also, the returning issue, notifications via email and also RSS feeds. And also social networking possibilities.
This is now the user's view. So their problems. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So in order to generate the wider discussion about the important topics, then TID Plus has a possibility of adding these particular ideas to popular social networking sites, which will generate a wider ground for those kind of ideas. And also there is a possibility to cooperate with different newspapers or portals so that the ideas of a particular category or all the ideas of TID Plus would be displayed elsewhere on another portal which is widely read. For example, when you think of the history of TOM, then the usage of TOM was much higher at the time when there was cooperation with Delphi in order to promote those ideas.
Perhaps we should also add a special button that people can put up on their own website related to an idea they are helping to promote, or at least their idea that shows the number of votes and so on, which typically tends to be pretty popular. But yes, as I said, we very much like the idea of actually bringing together the wider discussion. What you can see here under the references is something called Tehnokratt links, which means that there are blog search engines, and we can actually search the blogosphere for all of the mentions of the URL of our idea. So we will instantly know if somebody is talking about us. There are some other methods for that also. The implementation is going for doing something which on blogosphere is known as Trackbacks. So actually at the moment, somebody of you is blogging about an idea, your server is telling our server, or the TID Plus server, that there is somebody talking about you, and it's instantly notified. Of course, this needs some spam protections and so on. not all of the systems are actually actively letting everybody else know that there is a link. So there is also a solution built into that will track just the incoming users. So if somebody has posted a link to a daily newspaper's comment site, and some users are clicking there, then actually TID Plus will know that people are interested in that. It will again go through the spam protection side, but it will result in something like you see currently on the bottom, hopefully not a bit nicer, showing where people are coming. This is actually a result of me tracking on the Tehnokratt service my own name and also st.ee. And somebody yesterday was blogging about today's conference, so that's how I found that, and just for demonstration, I added that there.
When we think of, we have covered already the campaign tools, which there's numerous of on the new TID Plus. We have covered also the creating the different ideas and bringing back users via notifications. And also a possibility which can be turned off to contact the author and the commentators and voters of previous related ideas.
It's probably the wrong place. It was, actually, a slide which I at the last moment inserted in the wrong point, showing the survey we did, which was also a bit different from typical. I think the original idea was to have 6 pages of 10 questions each and a lot of 10-point scores to click through. And I finally used SurveyMonkey to build a very simple survey, which basically asks the name, email, and 6 questions. And every question was pretty simple. What did you know about Tom? And had some additional topics explained below the question. And people were giving only such open-ended questions they were free to describe. And I think that was actually a very good idea, because it seemed that people were actually interested in giving in answers. Because typically when the surveys of the tick boxes are run, people are trying to make patterns there and draw cats and dogs with the ticks on the screen. So this resulted in out of 80 people who got the survey, 26 took the time to actually think about the problems and the history of Tom and respond, and I think that's a pretty cool result. But onto the 6 questions, and they are, well, we have the summary of the answers and some things which might be maybe good to emphasize on that.
There is the Tom generally is known to the people via TV and government websites, etc. And for most of the, for quite a significant number of the users, the idea was the first action which they did on that particular site. And then after that, they were maybe interested in following some more of those ideas. Delphi, as we have also mentioned before, was an important channel to draw people to this website.
And it actually did mirror the ideas, and a lot of commenting happened on the Delphi site.
And now the suggestions which came are related to really the wider visibility of the ideas, and which of course is a question of how much can this be done by, let's say, centrally with the system, and how much this can be done by the user himself, who would actually actively write articles or comments about the particular idea on some other places. And it is so that the ideas to the Tom came from personal experiences with a particular problem. We can see numerous ideas which are small improvements to the existing systems, which actually are very interesting to see also in those terms that if the small improvements have been later getting a negative or positive reply. Another issue has been that this issue which spurred the idea was an acute topic in media.
There was a problem with that. I recall from last year some cases where the idea and votes gathering was happening also outside Tom, and the lists of thousands of votes were handed over to government or parliament or whoever was the target week before the Tom system even passed the idea into the voting phase. So that's why currently the system allows changing in these rules to actually take into account some immediate need to produce some action if something is really actual in the media.
Mm-hmm. Also, some of the ideas were just like this, presented, came to the mind, and not much time was spent.
As seen that almost half of the users didn't interact on the idea later. So they put their idea, they unloaded the problem, it was the radiator of their brain, and
also what we see, especially in TID Plus context, is that in order for this system to work effectively, there must be a very sensible set of guidelines of what is a good idea. Because in case there is a guideline of what is a good idea and what contributes to the idea being accepted, then it's easier to get better results from submitting an idea.
Mm-hmm. There was also an idea that actually instead of rewriting the system and doing additions to that, from actually author of one of the very prominent ideas there, we should actually just hire, let's say, lobby specialists who would actually help people to formulate the ideas and make them usable. So there is a need for human help. Fortunately, we have Hille, not a lobby lawyer, unfortunately or fortunately, who is trying to help the system on the Riigikantselei side. But despite that, there probably is a need to actually integrate the e-democracy and e-lobbying. Because people expect that if they have said their idea, it ought to materialize. It doesn't. It takes some work, possibly centuries, like great Chinese warlords are saying. Experience, generally positive, despite everything. They were pretty happy about the system. Editing of the idea was considered problematic. We hope we can improve that. Mm-hmm. And there was a typical question: should user be mandatorily authenticated by ID cards? This is some kind of Estonian idea that the solution to absolutely everything is to use ID card for that. So yeah, very ID card happy people. A separate question was about the comments, voting process and everything. So it's interesting to see on the first and last one, lack of discussion, but the quality of comments was good. So even if the comments were negative, they were seen as positive compared to the typical Estonian situation when much of the commenting is happening on the newspaper websites. And it is a kind of sign that if there is a clear concept, what needs to be commented, people are probably much more happy to do that. And if the commenting is taken into the smaller communities, then people are feeling more responsibility for that, and the people who are just there to show off don't bother. So just making the discussion into smaller portions might improve the quality of discussion. This has been scientifically found also earlier by Shirky and others.
It is a good question if e-democracy is by its nature an elitist process or not. And the question is how it should be in long term, because as we have seen from the user statistics which Peter had mentioned before, that maybe this sort of high quality of the comments means that that the active users of Tom have been a fairly close club who are fairly informed about how the government works and what can be done and what not, and therefore they have been giving comments which are considered high quality by themselves, actually, the idea submitters.
So, what would they, the users, see as a need to change? The authentication by ID card, of course. That's a solution to everything. Pseudonymous usage, the creating awareness, again the rule number 4 repeated once more, and also the involvement of experts and so on to actually make the ideas of better quality and help dispute them better.
In the context of TID Plus, now we have also implemented OpenID as a possibility for authentication, and also which would then make it a little bit maybe because there's a peculiar problem which was also mentioned before during the previous presentations related to our data protection rules and regulations, that actually it requires quite a lot of bureaucratic hassle to actually save people's identities by government agencies.
So actually the TID Plus allows people to keep their identities wherever they want, and use a simple login procedure to use their identity. It might be their blog, like most of the blogging systems are supporting that, including Google's blogger.com, livejournal.com are using supporting OpenID. But in our case, we're currently the next slides are showing it using something that was created by Martin Paljak, who is also sitting there on the back of the hall. This is using the OpenID tied together with Estonian ID card, which means that the only thing I need to tell here is the server, which will do the authentication for me, which is openid.ee. When I go there, I see a typical question for using my ID card. I enter my PIN code, and here, in this special case, I've given option to select who I am. There could be actually also a third one. So the first one is anonymous user. I'm just represented by a random string of numbers. I'm completely authenticated. Everybody knows that's me. I can only log in for one time using this service. But the system won't know. So if I, for whatever reason, don't not like to show myself, I can be anonymous. Or I can log in as a user with a real name. And there could be also possibility that I'm using some kind of partial identity, like I'm telling my age or sex or my first name or whatever, and I can use the pseudonymous login for that over the same system. I think this is very important to tie the identity, disconnect the question of the identity from the rest of the quality of the discussion dispute. It has been seen as a miracle tool. It definitely isn't that. And
yes, a couple of remarks also about the issues of increasing public awareness and also integrating Tom with other things, so that the people who submit ideas would be better informed of what is the current status quo in terms of their idea. At Osale, surely Hille will tell more about that. There's also a public sector search functionality which gives an easy process, a possibility for people to find anything similar to their ideas from all over the public sector. and in terms of thinking of the that a number of things could be solved better in case they are actually in the working plan of a particular ministry, then the consultations part of Osale.ee will has a sort of government-driven part where the government initiates a public consultation.
And then the development side, which was actually done, we tried to integrate most of the results into our analysis part to show what was related to what some key promises made during the original tender for T+ support from EU participation. Was it open source? I don't know if there has been much of government-related projects that have been actually going from being ordered for somebody to being really open source. There is a lot of talking about this is open source because the programmer can see the source or something like that. So this is going to be licensed under, I think, GPL.
Yes.
Yeah, we had some questions. What parts can be going what, but I think it will be under GPL and also under EU public license. So dual license to make everybody as happy as possible with future access to versioning and everything to actually do that. It will be distributable and usable by anybody. You can download, you can change it, and so on. And the current version is running to demonstrate that on a let's say $6 per month hosting. Okay, it's actually $10 per month hosting. It's the thing people are using to host their weblogs and all kinds of small usage stuff. This definitely isn't the way to do things on scalable and mission critical level and so on, but we currently did set the demo up there especially to demonstrate that it can run on whatever $10 hosting plan you are currently using from whichever provider.
Because it is also possible in principle to start up a portal like this as a sort of grassroots process in terms of coming from some interested individuals who are just interested in having a more coherent and visible way of public sector versus citizen citizen communication.
Yes, also I must say that tools like that are currently on a rising market. There are solutions from Dell like IdeaStorm. There are a lot of other vendors trying to do something like we have been doing. So I think it might be interesting if people are actually able to implement that and maybe use our development as a base for doing something which we couldn't imagine where it could be used. So the next points are actually, I'm just showing the parts which we are doing in addition to the Estonian Tom2 or the ideas under Osalus Web version. So the possibility to use social networking sites for promoting ideas. The possibilities for finding outside discussions using Tehnokratt, adding links, tracking incoming web traffic from other sites, and using Trackbacks. Also tools to include these ideas on third-party websites, and perhaps we can find some other simple implementations to add here, also using cool tools like Twitter, and there's probably a bunch of others that somebody would like to use. The simplified idea process.
The idea process is an interesting concept in those terms that there are different ideas on how the idea process should look like. Yeah? Well, in order to, in the TID Plus, the current process is, I'd say, more or less fairly similar to the the previous TOM. However, administrator can customize that in some particular ways. For example, it's a possibility to automatically accept ideas, which means that the administrator does not have to push the button, yes, it is decent idea, before an idea is published. However, of course, administrator can reject comments which may be, both ideas and comments which maybe include indecent proposals at any time of the idea process. And also the possibilities include the voting period specifications by administrator, also then from this the user can select things.
Yes, there is also one thing I'm not going to discuss longer is the including of on the public side rejected ideas, possibly redacted. Like I very much like to go into the petitions number 10 site to see what kinds of ideas have been rejected, and it seems that I think there is something like 30 to 40% of the ideas that are getting rejected, and it's good to see what it's for. And idea recycling, reputation and self-moderation system, and the system of trackability of seeing that what's going on with the system, well, what's going on with your ideas or on the field of interest of possibly yours. And the final question, is this all relevant at all? Will people use that? Because this is the state of Estonian blogosphere. There is a lot of discussion happening elsewhere. There are people building very interesting aggregators of discussions happening elsewhere. And there are people thinking about doing much simpler solutions for vote gathering. And as has shown the example of, for example, 30 Signals tools which are very simple to use, these kinds of tools might win the more complicated one that we have been actually doing. So
it's always a balance between different ideas, how applicable they are. It's always also a balance of how popular some particular destinations, portals are, and it's a balance of how people find themselves, or how comfortable they find themselves when using different tools.
Yes, so we don't have more to say that try yourself. Now we can show the address. So.
Yeah.